Isn't it a shame that the only walking you do is you walking all over me? And isn't it a shame that the only talking you do is me talking in my sleep? And isn't it a shame that the only holding you do is you holding out on me? Isn't it a shame, shame, shame? Isn't it a shame, shame, shame? Isn't it a shame that the only laughing you do is you laughing in my face? And isn't it a shame that the only loving you know is how you love to put me in my place? And isn't it a shame that the only kissing we do is kissing it all goodbye? Isn't it a shame, shame, shame? Isn't it a shame, shame, shame? Isn't it a shame? It's a shame. There's a service you can render. It's a shame. A little thing you've been overlooking. It's a shame. When I say I want it warm and tender, I'm not talking about the steak you're cooking. Is kissing it all goodbye. Isn't it a shame, shame, shame? Isn't it a shame, shame, shame? Isn't it a shame, shame, shame? Isn't it a shame that the only feeling you do is feeling that I'm gonna be sick? Isn't it a shame that the only wanting to do is wanting to get out of here quick? Closer we do is getting closer to the end. Isn't it a shame, shame, shame? Isn't it a shame, shame, shame? Oh, isn't it a shame that the only feeling I do is feeling that I'm gonna be safe? Isn't it a shame?
How you doing?
Easy.
Right. It's good enough for bloody London. Here we go. Right. It's me. I'm away. Look, I've started. I don't suppose be any chance your mouth bleeds every 28 days. I told you I'd nail you. Prick. Right here. Here's the chorus coming. Hang on. You're the dog end in my beer can. You're the stone in my left shoe. And when I think of great disasters, you know I always think of you. You're the snowdrift on my motorway, the snake in my grass. But most of all, baby, you're a pain in my ass. Thank you. That's chatting up, Glasgow style, romantic patter. He'll tell you all about it. If you go and look at him closely, you'll find a ring of Velcro around his neck holding his head on. I took you out for dinner to a fancy restaurant. It took you half an hour to tell the waiter what you want. And when he brought the soup, you let it fall down on your knee. And when he brought another one, you spilled it over me. You're the dog end in my beer can, you're the stone in my left shoe. And when I think of great disasters, you know I always think of you. You're the snowdrift sing on my motorway, the snake in my grass. But most of all, baby, sing, you're a pain in my ass. It's funny, they always remember that line. Now you may have heard me hinting there during the chorus. The next verse is about aeroplanes. And if you've heard any of my stuff on record, you'll know that I've got a fixation about aeroplanes and the toilets thereof. We were in Jersey during this tour, in the Channel Islands, and we had to fly back to Britain on Friday the 13th, and I was carried on in a stretcher, well wrecked. And then the pilot arrived. They must have managed to get him out of the bar. He was the living image of Glenn Miller. Kept whistling in the mood. And then I looked out the window, and written on the wing, Buddy Holly Airlines. What? Oh, I took you on an aeroplane, and as we soared through the clouds, you scared all the other passengers when you said your prayers out loud. But the worst was still to come before we'd even touched the ground. As a present to the pilot, you passed your hat around. You're the dog and sing in my beer can, you're the stone in my left shoe. And when I think of great disasters, you know I always think of you. You're the snowdrift on my motorway, the snake in my grass. But most of all, baby, you're a pain in my ass. You were an hour late for the wedding. I thought you'd left me in the lurch. Oh, you really shocked the guests there when you smoked your pipe in church. And in the middle of the service, I was stunned, to say the least, when you answered all the questions wrong and I got married to the priest. You're the dog end in my beer can, you're the stone in my left shoe. And when I think of great disasters, you know I always think of you. You're the snowdrift on my motorway, the snake in my grass. But most of all, baby, you're a pain in my ass. Drinky, I'm roasting. See this stuff advertised on television, and it's a real trendy ad. The guy looks like Elvis Presley, he's mumbling and all that, and they extol the great virtues of this drink, but they don't tell you it makes you fart, do they? See, it would spoil the ad. What? Right. You know those girls on the stool that turn around and go, oh, cut! So there was a guy, a Glasgow guy, and he was out for a walk, And he was doing out for walk things. I'm not a great go for walk person, but he was doing whatever people who go for walks do. I'm out for a walk, walking. Oh, a tree, I'm glad I came. Oh, there's a bird, what a walk this is turning out to be. And he was walking along some cliffs. It's hard to say when your moustache is wet, but walking along these cliffs, and the sea was pounding on the rocks beneath. Oh, sea pounding on rock, it's great. And what a walk. Right, so, look at that, pounding. So, my legs are walking and everything. And he fell off. Like, straight to the point, over the top. And he was hurtling towards the sea, grabbing handfuls of fresh air as he went. Help, I have fallen in mid-walk. Right? And he was passing there was a bush sticking out, a wee bush sticking out the cliff, and he was passing it, grabbed on, he's hanging there. Help! Help! Anybody out there? Anybody out there? Yes, my son. I am up here. I am everywhere. What? Hey, look, I was out for a walk there, and I slipped on something, and I fell down here, and I'm hanging on to this bush. Bushy, I'm hanging on. I know. I know all things. I see all things. I am the father of all men. Aye, very good. Look, I don't think you understand. I'm hanging on to this bush, and my hand's getting sore. I can't hold on much longer. I know. And your hand will get even sorer until you can stand the pain no longer. You will let go and plummet to your death on the rocks below. But fear not, for you shall join me in heaven. Is there anybody else out there? A Glasgow guy was learning to parachute, and he was in the aeroplane, and he went up to the instructor and he said, look, I don't want to look stupid or anything, you know what I mean, but you're going to tell me again what you do? I've totally forgotten, I'm panicking. He said, look, there's nothing at all to it. Basically, you jump out the door, a static line will open your parachute, you will float gently to the ground. Aye, that's great, but look, supposing that it doesn't open. He said, well, in the unlikely event of your parachute failing to open, they always say that when you're in aeroplanes, don't they? In the unlikely event of this plane crashing into a mountain and bursting into flames, there is a life jacket under your seat. So, put it on, come back to life, no problem. So he said, in the unlikely event of your parachute failing to develop, you have a reserve parachute in the front, a little red handle. Give it a smart tug. It will develop. You'll float gently to the ground. He says, yeah, that's great, sure, but what if it doesn't? Just suppose it doesn't. He says, well, in the extremely unlikely event of the reserve parachute failing to develop, pray, preferably to Allah. He said, but I'm a Christian. He said, it doesn't matter, pray to Allah. Okay. So he jumped out, nothing. And he's hurtling through the air and he's trying to get it to open. Nothing. So he says, wait, reserve. Floop, the whole thing comes off. He's looking for his hanky. He is scudding through the sky. So what's that other bloody thing I have to do? Oh yeah, Allah! Allah, help me! And a big black hand came out of the sky, picked him gently, and placed him softly on the ground. He said, well, thank Christ for that, and a big black foot went. Now, in the English folk tradition, as it were, so to speak, to coin a phrase, and the Irish as well, and the Welsh, they have a great history of drinking songs. Oh, songs that you drink and all that kind of stuff. In Scotland, we don't have that. By the time we get round to singing, we're too pissed to write songs, you see. And this is a peculiarly Scottish song I have for you here. This is a hangover song. And it was very rare, these are. And if any of you take a little refreshment now and again, like me, you can find me lying in the gutter any day, suitably refreshed. You'll recognise the symptoms in this song. I certainly did. You don't get eyes like that reading the Melody Maker. I woke up with an aching head, as usual. That's the chorus, right? You want to try it this time? I woke up with an aching head, as usual. I can't remember going to bed, as usual. Wonderful. You can have a wee rest now. My stomach's feeling very queer. I've got a thunderstorm in my left ear. It must have been McEwen's beer, as usual. Oh, we sucked the drink up like a hoover, as usual. The cheap wine and the paint remover, as usual. And somewhere deep inside my brain, I seem to hear a diesel train, and I promise not to drink again, as usual. I woke up in a public park, as usual. I must have crawled there after dark, as usual. Oh, I'd better see how much I've got. Oh, Jesus Christ, I've spent the lot. I must have been a drunken sot, as usual. Thanks very much. Have you ever thought about being a pervert? I don't mean sort of, I think I'll be a pervert tomorrow. Fed up. I think I'll nip out and get my willy pierced, yeah. Put a safety pin in it or something. Join a rock band and spit at the audience. I don't think it's quite like that. I'll tell you, I read a thing. You see, as you do these long tours, you've read all the monthly magazines and all the weekly ones as you're touring about on these roads. Christ, I wish that was mine. It sounded empty. Really, no, just that cans at a party. You know? Right. Do you remember that feeling when you're at the party and you're tying all the cans and they're all empty? Then you get a full one. Somebody's put a ciggy in it. As it swims up and touches. Right. So where was it? Aye, after you've read all the magazines, you start buying the more bizarre magazines. And I weakened. And I bought one. And there was an article in it about sexual perversion, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, I didn't know there were so many types. You know, I'd heard of all the normal ones, you know, leather and rubber and all that kind of stuff, you know, and guys dressing up as nurses and that, yippee. So, A nurse with a beard. Hello. Can you imagine bursting into your friend's room and he's dressed up as a nurse? Like, oh, sorry, my suit's at the cleaners. I just threw this on. Suspendies. But the wetsuit and the fireman's helmet. Right. Cover me in ice cream and bite my bum. I love it! But there was the ones in here I'd never heard of. I couldn't believe my eyes. I'd heard about his regular types, but sellotape freaks. I mean, what's that all about? Those guys getting all covered in sellotape and getting it ripped off. Yippee! Woohoo! Spinning around the room faster. I love it. What? They must be totally hairless. So that. And I thought, I wonder how he got round to that. Just thinking about it, you know. I mean, surely he wasn't sitting watching Crossroads one night. Fed up. Think I'll cover myself in sellotape. Get a wife to rip it off, see how it feels. I mean, surely it can't be. Maybe he started with a wee piece of elastoplast. Get a bigger bit. Oh, yes! And when I was thinking these rather bizarre things, I got to thinking, I wonder where they meet each other. I wonder if there's a bar somewhere. People all dressed in sellotape. German officers marching in and out. Guys dressed as nurses. Hello. But nuns and good morning. I wonder, it'd be great if there was a bar like that somewhere. And if there isn't, if they don't go out with the gear on, if they just go out in straight clothes, how do they approach one another? They come up to you. Imagine somebody coming up to you at the bar. Excuse me, I don't like to butt into your conversation or anything, but could you see your way clear to giving me a thrashing outside? What are you talking about? So, it doesn't work. There's like two Glasgow guys going home from work one night. One says, I'll tell you what, see, as soon as I get into the house, I'm going to rip the wife's knickers off. He says, what for? He says, the elastic's hurting my legs. So, you got I think you should be warned more at school about sexual perversion, told a wee bit more about it. Because the first experience you usually have of it is somebody feeling you in the pictures, isn't it? Wee man with a boiler suit. Want to come a walk to the park? Because if you knew more about it, you wouldn't worry about yourself so much. Like the girl going to the psychiatrist, and she said, look, I've got a bit of a problem. He says, well, I'm your man. What is it? She says, I think I'm becoming sexually perverted. He says, really? No, she no. No, he didn't do that. He said, there you go, my goodness. And what form does my goodness, you know. Well, Jings Criven's help my Bob, my goodness me. Whatever can the matter be? And he says, what form does your perversion take? She says, well, I'm a bit embarrassed about it, really, you know. Frightened you would laugh at me if I don't laugh at anybody. Don't be silly. What's your what is it? And she says, well, I feel so stupid. Well, I like people to kiss me in the bum. I said, oh, for goodness sake, you're wasting my time. Nothing wrong with a wee kissing a bum, for goodness sake. See, I'm worse than you myself. She says, yeah, sure, aye, that'll be right. You're only saying that to make me feel good, aren't you? He said, no, I'm not. I'm telling you I'm worse than you. I'll show you if you like. She said, okay, show me. He said, right, if you would take your clothes off and go to the other end of the room there and stick your head under the carpet. She says, oh, come on. What? You're having me on. He said, no, honestly, this is my thing. She said, okay then. She went to the other end of the room, got the gear off, down on the knees and the head under the carpet. And she's thinking, yeah, I think I've knocked it off. I might get a kiss in the bum out of it. So, she's under there for 2.5 hours. Nothing happened. The bum's getting cold, you know. She said, oh, wait a minute, what is this? And she looked out to the carpet like that. And there he was, sitting at the other end of the room, reading a paper, fully clothed, smoking a pipe. She says, see, you were having me on, you were. You haven't done a single thing. He says, haven't I? I've just had a shit in your handbag. So, the next song has absolutely nothing to do with that. Now, don't panic, don't panic. You don't hear them in Jackanory. Now, as you've no doubt heard, and as most people in Britain no doubt know, in Glasgow, we have two very famous football teams, Rangers and Celtic. Right, hooray, boo, hooray, give us a shout when you're finished, right? So, and never the twain shall meet. And when they're playing, the supporters of Celtic go to one end and the supporters of Rangers go to the other end, and they shout at each other for 90 minutes and then they all go home. Now, it can be quite heavy right enough. Hey, you nuns, have some of that, you fiend. So, and it's very heavy and very good. Don't butt in, that's what bad boys do. Now, this is a story about a wee Glasgow man who made the mistake of his life and went to the wrong end. Right? He was a wee bit drunkish, but he sobered up rapid when he discovered what had happened. And it was too late, he was too deep into the crowd. And he was surrounded by giant supporters of the opposition. They're all growling round him. They'd never been that close to one before. So that's the scene. And he's standing there. Nice day for it, eh? So, and his team scored 2 goals. He went, oh, Jesus Christ. And eventually one of them spoke to him. Hey! What is it? Go and get me a Bovril! For some obscure reason, Scotsmen drink Bovril at football matches and at no other time in their lives. Go and get me a Bovril! He said, aye, okay. You'll run away, wouldn't you? Take off one of your shoes. So he takes off his shoes, he's right, go. And he limps away for the Bovril. He comes back and says, there's your Bovril. He says, duh, here's a shoe. And there was a big jobby in it. Put it on. I went, oh, Christ almighty. His team scored another 2. Oh. Eventually another one spoke to him. Hey, go and get me a Bovril now. And leave your other shoe. So, the shoe off, and he's limping away with one shoe full of it and stomping foot. They came back, here's a bottle. Ta, here's your other shoe. Same again. Put it on. So he's standing there. There's a big space all around him. Jesus Christ. Right. He's in abject misery. There's flies or... And you can see his mates at the other end going, hello, we are the champions. And eventually, to his great relief, the game ended. He said, right, on your way. Right, all right. So he waited till most of the crowd were away, and he sort of squidged out of the ground. He was going down the street, keeping close to the wall, and there's dogs following him. And he came upon a television crew for the BBC, the camera, the whole works. Guy with a sheepskin jacket and a bonnet. Hello. Excuse me, sir. Can I have a wee word in your ear and that? He says, look, we've been interviewing people here for a television about football violence. Could you just come a bit closer here, sir? Oh no, Christ, in second thoughts. I have a smell about here. I've got something in my shoe. No, I've got something in my shoe. Okay. We've been talking about football violence to a lot of the supporters. Have you anything to say to the viewers about it? Any original points of view? He says, you're bloody right I have. He says, give us that Macaulay-phone. Right. And he stares the camera straight in the eye. He says, in my sincere opinion, football violence in this country will never end. Not as long as they are shitting in our shoes and we are pissing in their bothrel. Eh? Come on. Come on, you're playing with the big boys now. Open your mouth and I'll send you your way rejoicing. Do another one, I'll slaughter you. George, raw meat and some Lego in the balcony. So much for culture, eh? This is a tune I recorded some time ago. I like making records. I like the British recording industry. I find it very adventurous. I mean, who else would have thought of starting the Second World War to push Vera Lynn's new single? You know what I mean? So, this... oh, it's true. Don't you believe all that Poland nonsense? Right. This is a song about politicians and their suspect friends. I think over the past couple of years we've been ripped off rather badly by people we trusted. It's also about an amazing... Oh, thank you very much. It's about an amazing... Thank you. I do it together, I don't do it at all. No, this is... There's nothing more disturbing than one clap. So, listen, thank you. Now, it's also about an astonishing sporting event which happened last year and seemingly went totally unnoticed by the Olympic authorities. It's called John Stonehouse Went Swimming. John Stonehouse went swimming when his bank was a failure. He jumped in at Miami and he swam to Australia. You thought David Wilkie was good, didn't you? Some said, how clever. And some said how sinister. Some said John Stonehouse could have been a prime minister. Some said how awful. Some said how funny. Some have no money. Jim Slater walked the city. Some say he walked in water. But in Singapore, things got much hotter. Some said how unfortunate. And some said how sinister. Some said Peter Walker could be a prime minister. Some said how awful. And some said how funny. Some have no money. John Paulson went dancing. Said it was good for the contract. And his business got stronger. The draftsman from Pontefract. Some said how amazing. And some said how sinister. Some said John Paulson even bribed a prime minister. Some said how frightening. And some said how funny. Some have no money. Oh, some said how frightening. And some said how funny. Some have no money. Thank you. I'm going to do a thing about the police and their astonishing ability to lie in court. If you're found, say, in a doorway, steaming, singing at the sky, oh, into the jail, you wake up in the morning. This is a special trick of theirs. You wake up in the morning. Oh, Jesus, my feet. Oh, where am I? Looks like a hospital. So I hope I'm not dead. Christ, I'm in jail. Hey, Constable! Yes? Hey, look, do you think I could borrow a comb or something? No. So away you go to court like that. I mean, you look guilty. I mean, would you buy a used car from this man? I mean, if somebody knocked your door and asked you if your daughter was in and looked like that, you'd slam it in his bloody face, wouldn't you? And that's it. Plus, you've been well smashed the night before. You've had like 13 pints of Guinness, 2 curries, 4 boiled eggs and a bean sandwich. You know, you're a bit peckish with a drink. My eyes! Jesus Christ, my eyes are burning! And the paint's coming off the dock. The paper's coming off the walls. The carpets. People going, they're pulling each other back, trying to get the door. Christ almighty! The wig's all twisted. Let me out before I breathe in! They're getting pulling each other with the capes. Should they charge you with chemical warfare while they're at it? I mean, You got to admit, that curry stuff is something else altogether. I love it, I must say, at this point. I love it dearly. But it has a sort of growing hatred for me. There's a street in Glasgow, Gibson Street, and it's, Glaswegians know and love it. And it's almost all curry shops, Indo-Pakistani restaurants, right up both sides. And that smell wafts down the street. And I defy anybody who remotely likes curry to walk the length of the street without nipping in for a quick one. Well, and Glasgow likes curry. On a Saturday night, all the lads have been out for a bevy. Yeah, we'll go for curry, yeah? Aye, man. Can't you beat it, a wee Ruby Murray? You can open the door of any one of those restaurants and see them at it. How's yours, man? It's fantastic. More water! The waiters are running up with buckets. Thanks, man. Oh, mopping the brow with a chapati. Unreal. But if you're out with a woman and you intend doing anything later, don't go for a curry. You know, there was something I always wanted. Was that you? Take your hands off me, you wretch. Smelly. So if you're going to do that, and you must have a curry, take a dog with you. That damn dog's a nuisance. It'll be difficult getting the dog into bed, but persevere. Now, pull the blankets down like that. Now that's bad enough. But in the morning, oh, Christ almighty. In the toilet, shut the door, lock it, sit down. Beating out the flames and using a will. God almighty! Because nobody told you. It's twice as hot on the way out than it was. Screaming for help. Your ass is hanging in tatters. Gandhi's revenge. Oh yeah. Johnny Cash wrote a song about it. Ring of Fire, it's called. But all of this merry banter has nothing at all to do with the police. Now, I'd like to sing my song. And if you would join in the chorus, I'd be absolutely overcome. The reason I want you to join in, don't leave me all exposed. If they get me, I can blame you as well. What are you singing about? I said they were doing it as well. You want to charge them as well? Oh, yeah. No full heat. No, it sounds rather good if a lot of people join in. You got a wee Kirby there. Thank God we've got ears. You always get guys with haircuts like that in people's holiday snaps, don't you? There's a chap we met in holiday, awful nice fella. If you check out the photos, you'll see him lurching in the distance in the wall. They didn't even know he was following them when they took that picture. Right. Now here we go.
This is a police song. Here's a chorus. Do you think I could leave you lying when I can lie my head off too? If somebody squawks in the witness box, I'll cover up for you. I'll tell a pack of lies, pull the wool over their eyes, the way the sergeant taught us to. Before you count to 3, we'll be off scot-free. We're 2 little boys in blue. Now 2 little boys had 2 little toys, a whistle and a helmet blue. And when they were wee, it was plain to see what they'd grow up into. They were hitting other wains, bashing in their brains, and shopping everybody too. It was him. They didn't reform, now they're in uniform. They're 2 little boys in blue. Do you think I could leave you lying when I can lie my head off too? If somebody squawks in the witness box, I'll cover up for you. I'll tell a pack of lies, pull the wool over their eyes, the way the sergeant taught us to. Before you count to 3, we'll be off scot-free. We're 2 little boys in blue. Now the duty sergeant said, tuck the prisoners into bed, but before you take their cocoa through, keep them in their cells and hit them where it tells, but don't leave them black and blue. You can kick them on the balls, bounce their heads off the walls, bash them on the kidneys too. Beat them on the legs and thighs, but don't give them black eyes, or you'll be a prisoner too. Do you think I could leave you lying when I can lie my head off too? If somebody squawks in the witness box, I'll cover up for you. I'll tell a pack of lies, pull the wool over their eyes, the way the sergeant taught us to. Before you count to 3, we'll be off scot-free. We're 2 little boys in blue. So if you see them on the beat as they swagger down your street, here's a piece of advice for you. Don't trust your luck, turn round, run like the clappers from the 2 little boys in. Do you think I could leave you lying when I can lie my head off too? If somebody squawks in the witness box, I'll cover up for you. I'll tell a pack of lies, pull the wool over their eyes, the way the sergeant taught us to. Before you count to 3, we'll be off scot-free. We're 2 little boys in blue. Thank you.
Worms crawling up your bum. biting you on the Welly. Oh, death. Something huge and black and hairy with hundreds of legs living up your nose. That's what I think of death. And I'll tell you, please. You see, the Chinese and the people in New Orleans, they've really got it together. They know how to treat it. Somebody dies, hey, hello, a wee party, get into that. Cheers, we are the people. I mean, that's what it's all about. I mean, the priests and ministers and people in crematoriums and funeral parlours, undertakers, they've got us all in bloody misery. Would you like to see the body? This way. What's that all about? Got us all terrified, bogeyman. I think it should be cheered up. Did you ever wonder what happened to Robin Hood? I used to wonder that a lot. I used to lie awake at night saying, I wonder what happened to Robin Hood. I used to pound the pavements at 4 o'clock in the morning. Oh, Robin, what happened? See, when I was a wee boy, I used to always... I had several Robin Hood books, as most boys did. Kind aunties tend to give you Robin Hood books. And they were always the same. On the last page, Robin had just won that contest, that archery thing. And he was walking into the distance with Marion, with his arm over it like that. And the merry men were saying, cheerio, Robin. All the best, Robin. Yeah, cheerio, lads. Keep it going, boys. That's the game. Keep in touch, Robin. Keep in touch, sir. Tell us all about it. Know what I mean? Hey, Robin, can we watch? No! And they walk into the distance. And that's the end. But I always wondered what happened after that to Robin, whatever became of the chap. Well, I'll tell you, because I found out. Robin didn't do too well at all. As a matter of fact, luck didn't shine on Robin. They went from bad to worse and got very poor and ended up in furnished rooms in Nottingham. Him and Marion. And Robin got old like everybody else, and he had silver hair, a wee silver beard, and he was close to death, sitting up in bed with his wee Lincoln green pyjamas on. And the feather in his hat went, But for Robin, it was all over. And he said, Marion! 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 And she came in. What is it? What is it now? Mer, look at it. No, Marion. Marion, I fear I am close to death. Please fetch the merry men. And all right. And away she went, and then they came in, the merry men. Hey, Robin, how's it going, pal? You all right? How you going, Robin? You all right? Well, give in. Where's the half bottle? Come on. Where's the carry out, Robin? Own up. Wee bottle of stout, hold it. These merry men, I gathered you here because I am close to death. Little John, you were always my very chum. Please fetch my longbow. All right. You're not going to commit suicide or anything, are you? No. He said, there's a bow. He says, thank you. And an arrow. Jesus Christ. A message boy. Yeah. And your arrow. Thanks, little John. And he puts the arrow in the bow, and he knelt up in bed with his wee scrawny legs, shaking like that. And he says, little John, please open a window. And, oh, God almighty. There you go. And he points like that. He says, wheresoever this arrow may land, there shall I be buried. Boing! And they buried him on top of the wardrobe. And that's true. If anybody ever asks you, That's your actual official story. One more crack like that and you're out in your arse. Don't let the hair fool you, I'm not a hippie, I like violence. Every concert, a loony. Spell that. No. This is a lovely way with him, that chap, isn't he? Aye. Nice, tolerant, big lad. Oh, yes. The Scots have an amazing reputation for being aggressive. You don't know they're coming up to get you, do they? And they're going to bring you down here. They're not going to throw you out. And I'm going to come off after and do terrible things to you. Right, George, get a sellotape. He's going beyond the point. Shut your mouth. This is a aggressive story. Desperately aggressive, terrible. See, the reason Scots got the name of being aggressive was because of most of the regiments we had in Scotland, or have, are infantry regiments. They were always up at the front. They looked more aggressive than everybody. But nobody ever told you that just before they went out the trenches, the officers told the men that there was a half bottle just beyond the Germans. I mean, that puts a whole different light in the subject, doesn't it, really? There's a story where the Scottish regiment were all in the trench in the First World War. They were up to their knees in mud. And it had been a long, long time since they'd been in battle, at least 3/4 of an hour, they say. And they were bored and they were practicing on each other. And then at last the order came, over the top, lads, and right into them! Hello! Boom, crash. Machine guns, there's bodies everywhere and bits of leg flying through the air. Boom, crash, 10 of them left. Crash, boom, 4 of them left. 2 of them left. One of the guys turned round to the piper and he said, for Christ's sake, can't you play something they like? I'll sing a wee Scottish song, just a minute. A Scottish country and western song. There was a big country and western hit called Cryin Time. This is my version. It's called Closin Time. Same thing. Oh, it's closing time again. You'll have to leave us. Oh, you've got that faraway look in your eye. We've got to hose the lavvy down and count the tumblers and wipe the stour from off tomorrow's pies. Oh, the Scottish pubs, they're gonna be just like England's. They're letting us drink up an hour late, but that won't affect the crowd that drink in my pub, 'cause they're all steaming drunk at 8:30. Oh yes, it's closing time again, you'll have to leave us. Yous have got a faraway look into your eye. We've got to host lavvy doon and cutie tumbler, and wipe a student off my back. You should see the way they come in here at opening. It's a wonder they're allowed out on their own aim. Stone cold sober, they come in like Mickey Rooney. 3 pints later, they barge out like Big John Wayne. Oh yes, it's closing time again, you'll have to leave us. For yous have got that far away to, can't you die? Oh yes, we've got the horse rabbit too, they could eat and play. Gun yourself some, try my best. I'm rabbit shooting off and run. Oh, there's gonna be big changes made in this pub. There'll be topless lassies serving up your beer. Well, I told the boss that's sex discrimination. I've been wearing topless trousers here for years. Oh, Jed's a closing time again, you'll have to leave us. Oh, you've got that faraway look in your eyes. We've got to hose the lavvy down and count the tumblers. I'm
I'd like to finish with a wee number. You see, all of my performing life, I've tried like hell to avoid having a sort of signature tune or any part of my act that I have to do everywhere I go. And as soon as it looks like getting like that, I drop it and do something else. Because I live in fear and terror of becoming a sort of Vera Lynn figure. I mean, see, that song must really get in her nerves, eh? Right, so, and this is my wheel mute again, because I'm really stuck with this one, but thankfully I think I like it. It did a lot for me, this wee song. So I'd like you to join in the chorus, if thou wouldst.
If it wasn't for your wellies, where would you be? You'd be in the hospital or infirmary. For you would have a dose of the flu or even pleurisy if you didn't have your feet in your wellies. Oh, wellies, they're wonderful. Oh, wellies, they're swell. Cause they keep out the water and they keep in. And when you're sitting in a room, you can only tell when some bugger takes a sing. Wellies, yeah, but what's the for your wellies? Sing! You'd be in a sing! Do your dog! A dose of flu or even pleurisy. New British politicians, they haven't made a hit. They're ruining the country more than just a bit. If they keep on the way they're going, we'll all be in the jobbies. So you better get your feet in your way. Sing! Where would you be? You'd be in the hospital or infirmary. But you would have a go to the flu and even pleurisy. In your way. Well, if it wasn't for you, well, where would yous be? I said yous be. Well, yous would be in the hospital. Hardy in you for I said the infirmary. For shoes, I said, for shoes would have a dose of your flu. I said your flu. What do you say? I said your flu. Heart heaving, pleuritis. If you didn't have, I said, if you didn't have your feet. In your way, I said in your way.